Hi, everybody. It's Karen again, and I'm here to wish you happy Father's Day for this weekend, this time. Because my videos stand on their own, I hope, but they are also companion pieces to my online magazine, It's Not About Me.tv. So when I was writing my Father's Day column, I went, you know what? I'm always talking about my mother. Like half of my TV show that I used to do and these videos always mention my mother. My writing always mentions my mother. I always mention my mother to everybody. And so someone said to me one time, "Do you not have a father?" And I did have a father, obviously, because I used to say I'm going to my mother's, and my father was alive, but I just talked about my mother. So now that Father's Day is here, as I was writing my column, I went, you know what? I do have a good story about my father. So I did write it in my e-zine many years ago, but it's so much easier to talk you through it. And I'm sure that I was going to say most of you, but I'm sure that all of you don't remember every single story I ever told in writing over the 10 years of this magazine. So just in case, I'm telling you, I wrote it once before in case you think I did. Okay, there actually is one person I know who probably would know. So, and he knows who he is. Okay, and it's not Mr. X, it's somebody else, but who like keeps a tight rein on these videos, and he's always telling me about them and my writing and everything. So okay, so here's the story. It's a story about my father. So when he was a little boy, um, he grew up in Russia, I guess. He didn't grow up. He was 4 years old. His father left for America. He was going to send for my grandfather was going to send for his wife and his son, who is my father. This is, by the way, okay, I'm interrupting my story for 1 second. That's part of the shirt, in case you're wondering what these dots are, because this is a zipper, and that's the top of the zipper. So in case you were wondering, that's it. Maybe you weren't even caring at all about it. But anyhow, okay, so grandfather came to America. My father and his mother were walking along the street in Russia one day. He was 4 years old, and this is the sad part. His mother just died right there holding his hand. It was very weird. So he lived with different relatives for 3 years till his father could send for him to come to America. Okay, so that's the basis. So when he went to get on the boat, it's a 7-year-old boy coming on a boat. I never asked him if he spoke English. I guess he did. He became a speech teacher, so I get speech chairman of the department. So, and that's why my family speaks so well. Okay, no, that is how everybody else in Brooklyn speaks, but obviously we don't. Okay, but anyhow, so when my father was getting on the boat, his relatives gave him a box of chocolates, a Whitman sampler. So I'll show you the visual aids after in case you don't know what a Whitman sampler is. But it's a yellow, old-fashioned looking box with all different kinds of chocolates. And when you open the lid, it tells you what the flavor is, which is really good. You don't have to bite into every, well, I mean, cut into every piece to see, because you don't bite into them and put them back in the box, unless you live with someone who's an animal and he would eat it like that. I'm not saying I do, but since I'm pointing over there, I guess I do. The secret's out. It's official. He eats like an animal. Okay, but so anyhow, so my father had this beautiful box of chocolates. He never had anything like that in his whole life. And he was such a kind young gentleman, generous, that he went around the boat and offered every single person a piece. And then he realized he didn't have any left for himself. He never took one for himself, which would be very sad. But, his soul was fed that he was good to people. So he went back to wherever his headquarters on the boat were, probably a supply closet or something. I don't know where 7-year-old poor boys go on a boat, but whatever. But wherever Leonardo DiCaprio went on the Titanic, that's probably where my father went on his boat. So anyhow, he went back to his room. He was a little sad. He had no chocolate. And he threw the box into the garbage can. He went, and as he did it, he heard something rattle in there. So he went back and he goes, "What's rattling in here?" And he opened it up. And those of you who know a Whitman sampler know the punchline of the story is, there's the second layer. Whitman samplers have 2 layers. So he took it, he didn't know. So he had a whole layer to himself. His generosity was rewarded. It's a reward in yourself to be generous, but hey, he got a whole layer of chocolate. So just in case you don't know what it looks like, I'm going to show you visual aids here. Okay, wait a second. We don't have to know what time that was. Okay, but because I didn't know how else to show. Remember on my show, I used to have visual aids all the time, but they were actually better than this technology. So that is what a Whitman sampler box looks like. This one happens to be a gigantic one that Mr. X and I bought in New York a few years ago to have a party on Thanksgiving Eve. It was gigantic, as you can see. So usually they're not this gigantic. And then over here, if you can see, it tells what each piece is. And then this is a box I took, a picture I took off the internet. That was the top layer, and then you take that out, and there's the bottom layer. So my father had the bottom layer. So he didn't have his mother, but he had a whole layer of chocolate. Not exactly an even trade, I know. I can't believe in all these years that I've been hearing this story from my parents, I never thought of that until now. I am so sorry that I thought of that in public, because that is a horrible thought. I don't just like, please forgive me for that. That is, I mean, I'm sure I know he'd rather have his mother. And it's not even like I'm sure. It's like there's no contest. His stepmother on the other. No, oh no! What just happened? Okay, I'm getting a phone call in the middle of this. Where's my thing I'm doing? Oh my God! The phone call came through. Okay, and it wasn't identified. It might be heaven calling to tell me to stop this line of talk. But he did come to this country, and all of a sudden he had a stepmother and a stepsister. That's not nice. Okay, but anyhow, okay, that was my bad grandmother. I had a good grandmother who was my mother's mother. That's not what I was trying to tell you on Father's Day. But anyhow, so the romantic thing is, and then this will be over, I promise. Hang in there for one more second. My mother, for every, not just holidays, like whenever she could, was alone, which wasn't that often because they were like Paul and Linda McCartney. They were together every second of their lives. But they even taught together a lot at the time. But anyhow, she always gave him Whitman samplers, even when he had diabetes. Okay, this is just, okay, I'm sorry. I'm laughing, but I realize how horrible this sounds. It was supposed to be nice. This was supposed to be a nice story, and now, but anyhow, look, she didn't give it to him to like harm him because it was really chocolate. Where I, on the other hand, am such a good daughter. I found this great diabetic chocolate he liked that you couldn't really get anyplace. So I had a truck. I went and met a truck like in the middle of the night in some dark place. It was so stupid. But to get my father his chocolate, like, thank God that, nothing happened to me. But there was that wasn't the stupidest thing I've ever done. You should see some of the things I've done. So stupid. Okay, that has nothing to do with Father's Day. No wonder my father didn't really like me all that much now that I'm thinking about it. But anyhow, so that's, oh my God, I know I'm going to regret this whole thing. That's the Whitman sampler story. And I hope you all have a fabulous Father's Day. Okay, whatever you get, I hope it's not going to kill you. Okay. Oh my God, I'm going to regret this. Plus, I'm going to regret that I showed you my curly hair in the back because I made the front straight. Okay, thank you for watching. I'll talk to you next time. Bye.